Y'all want to see how I make my homemade fried apple pie? Stay tuned. How y'all doing today? So I started off by sifting my flours. I think I put in about 4 cups of sifted flour into this bowl. And then I added about a half a cup of vegetable lard. And then I did a half a cup of butter. And I chopped my butter before I put it in so it'll be easier for me to incorporate everything. I used the fork to chop the butter and the lard within the flour. They do have other tools that you can do this with. I don't have that tool. I use the fork. But you know what? That fork was working me. I put my gloves on and I went to work. Yeah, you can do it bare hand, but today I just didn't feel like getting my hands that dirty and sticky. I added cold milk straight from the refrigerator. I think it does better with cold milk. And I went to work again. I had to constantly keep telling myself that this is not a clean job. It's messy anytime you're dealing with flour. My apron was so floured up and so dirty, it bothered my OCD so bad. Once I got everything worked in, I cleaned my gloves off. I added a little bit of flour to the board so nothing won't stick. I took my dough out and put it on my cutting board. And I started working it. I started kneading it. I started folding it over, making sure that I got everything incorporated because I'm going to make a smooth ball. Y'all, I needed that dough while I was singing. I'm not talking to nobody. Don't mind me. Y'all know I like to jam while I cook. The music just put me in a better creative mood so I can do my thing in the kitchen. After all that kneading, I finally got it together. Pop! Look at that dough ball, y'all. Ain't it pretty? All right, y'all. So now it's time to get to work and make these apple pies. I sprinkled some more flour down on my cutting board, and you notice also that I have flour already in my hands. So I squeeze a little bit of the dough from my dough ball, and I'm going to roll them up just kind of like you do biscuits. But I'm not going to do really big balls because I don't want my apple pies to be too doughy. So I roll it up and I flatten it out. Now, I don't have no roller, y'all. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I don't have one. Anyway, I'm going to use that cup, a flat cup. So if you don't have one, you can use a cup and you roll that dough out, baby. I don't know. But for some reason, I could not roll this dough out to get me a perfect circle. But it's okay because I had a knife. And that knife made my circle, baby. If y'all know what I'm doing wrong, tell me what I can do to make this a circle so I won't have to use a knife. All right, y'all. Now it's time to put the apples in the center. How I make my apples: I peel the apple and cut them in chunks. I put them on the stove. No water, with butter, cinnamon, sugar, brown sugar, and vanilla. I let them cook down on a medium heat until they were all tender and together. And I let them cool and put them in the refrigerator overnight. Jug had brought a big old bag of apples home. My plan wasn't to do fried apple pies, but I just didn't want the apples to go to waste. I put about 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons of apple inside of the dough. You just got to use your best judgment. One tip that I learned is make sure your dough is kind of thin, but not too thin. You don't want to tear it. So when you put in the apples inside of the dough, make sure that you spread it out just a little bit. Now it's time to wrap those bad boys up. So you wrap them up, making sure that you do have an edge on the end, and you kind of press with your fingers. And once you press with your fingers and make sure that it's sealed, you can then use a fork to seal it further, and which also leaves a design, and just go around the sides, making a little design and sticking them together. I use my knife constantly with this dough, making sure that I have a smooth edge. Now, again, if y'all know how to keep this dough in a circle, you ain't got to use a knife to cut it, please let me know and give me some ideas. Here you see me using the fork to seal the edges further. Yep, still singing and jamming out, y'all. And voila, there you go. That's that pie all together. And I'm so happy, y'all. Look at my face like I did something. I made pie after pie after pie after pie. This was not my plan, but it happened. So I got my grease high. I had it on the stove warming up when I got about halfway through. I guess about 375. I fried them probably about maybe 3 minutes on each side. I got them golden brown. They were so pretty. Y'all, guess what? I dropped that pie in that grease. That made me so mad. But you know what? It's still edible. We're going to eat it. And I finally got one good pie out. So what you see here are all the pies that I made. As you notice, one of the pies looked like it was busting open, which is okay. Y'all don't know pie look good. Okay, so some of the pies were busting open because I made them too thin. I still cooked them anyway. They still going to be edible. But this is how busted pie look. All right, babe. I want you to try this fried apple pie. The broke one that I messed up. It's hot.
Now you tell me.
Faye was so tired. He said he had worked hard today.
Good.
Good, ain't it? Jug tasted that first one that broke. But after that one, I started making the dough a little bit thinner. So y'all know I had to taste it. I took a few to work, too. And they loved them. In the words of my mama, they taste like them old-fashioned fried pies. Ooh-wee! Thank y'all for watching.